In the pantheon of cinematic giants, Orson Welles occupies a celestial throne. Yet beneath the dazzling brilliance of his career, the shadows cast by his professional successes often darkened his personal connections. In an astonishing revelation on his deathbed, Welles confessed he'd never truly been happy. Join Factsverse as we delve into the life and legacy of this iconic artist, exploring the personal demons and tragedies that haunted him. Shakespearean Prodigy. Born in 1915 in Kenosha, Wisconsin, Orson was the offspring of Richard Welles, a visionary inventor, and Beatrice Ives, an accomplished concert pianist. From the outset, the couple had no doubt their second son was destined for extraordinary achievements. He was hailed as a wonderkind, drawing the attention of psychologists who sought to study his extraordinary abilities. Physically, he stood apart too. By age 14, he had already reached his towering height of 6'3.5", and his voice had deepened into the distinctive basso profundo that later became his trademark. In his formative years, Dr. Maurice Bernstein, a close family friend, played a pivotal role in fostering his gifts. Tragedy struck when Orson was just 9, as his mother succumbed to hepatitis. The profound sense of anguish and loss he experienced created an emotional void at the heart of a person, much like it's depicted in Citizen Kane. At age 10, he penned opera critiques for the local newspaper. His fervor for the performing arts began with his first toy theater, and by the time he was 14, he was adapting and directing plays at school, even tackling a rendition of Shakespeare's historical dramas. Before he turned 15, he faced another heartbreak when his father passed away due to complications from alcoholism. Following that, a 16-year-old Orson ventured to Ireland, ostensibly for a sketching excursion, but really to seek acting opportunities. Remarkably, he secured a leading role in a play at the esteemed Gate Theatre in Dublin. Upon returning to Chicago, he published a collection of illustrated Shakespeare textbooks, which he co-authored with his former headmaster. These texts remained in print for 3 decades. In 1938, at age 23, Orson captivated listeners with his radio adaptation of H.G. Wells's The War of the Worlds, marking an early pinnacle in a career encompassing nearly half a century and over 25 films, including the 1941 masterpiece Citizen Kane. Additionally, he had the remarkable ability to master any subject within hours, delivering eloquent speeches in languages he had only recently encountered. As he tackled each medium in his diverse career, he instantaneously grasped their potential, seamlessly mastering the principles of light, sound, and cinematography. Failed marriages and complex love affairs. Orson Welles' romantic life was marked by a series of failed marriages and entangled relationships. His first love, actress Virginia Nicholson, eloped with him in 1934 when they were 19, but their union was soon marred by his infidelity as he pursued affairs with actresses Geraldine Fitzgerald and Dolores Del Rio while Nicholson was pregnant. As Welles' career skyrocketed, Nicholson ultimately divorced him in 1940. In 1943, he married the dazzling screen icon Rita Hayworth, but their relationship was also plagued by his numerous indiscretions. By 1948, Hayworth had reached her breaking point and filed for divorce. Welles' third marriage to Italian actress and aristocrat Paola Mori was precipitated by her pregnancy. Despite their shotgun wedding in 1955, the couple gradually drifted apart. Yet even amidst his tumultuous marriages, Welles found a long-term partner in Croatian actress Oja Kodar, who was 26 years his junior. For the final 24 years of his life, she remained his lover. However, he never divorced Mori, frequently returning to her and maintaining homes with both women. Each of Welles' marriages produced a daughter, though Hayworth's daughter, Rebecca Welles, maintained that his true love was his mistress, Dolores Del Rio. Welles also fathered an illegitimate son with actress Geraldine Fitzgerald, Sir Michael Lindsay Hogg, a baronet and film director. In his will, Welles bequeathed his movie copyrights to his wife, Mori, while leaving the rights to his unfinished films to his mistress, Kodar. This division sparked disputes over his estate that persisted for a long time, serving as a testament to the complex tapestry of Orson Welles' personal life. Hollywood struggles and a posthumous movie. It may be hard to believe, but the prodigious talent known for his work in theater and radio faced immense challenges when attempting to break into Hollywood. Despite his genius and undeniable flair, he found it difficult to fit in among the Hollywood elite. Welles' first feature film debut resulted in his blacklisting, and it appeared as though the forces of old Hollywood were conspiring against him, betraying and undermining his films. Projects such as Touch of Evil and The Magnificent Ambersons saw Welles fired and his creative vision sidelined. as the films were reshot and re-edited without his input. As he entered into his twilight years, Welles struggled to secure work. In order to finance his films, he took on guest roles in commercials, TV shows, and other directors' films. Unfortunately, due to insufficient funds or his own growing disillusionment, many of his films remained unfinished. His life took a darker turn as he became increasingly unhealthy, severely overweight, and depressed over the fading of his former glory. In a remarkable turn of events in 2018, Netflix stepped in to complete one of Welles's final unfinished films, The Other Side of the Wind. This posthumous act of restoration not only paid homage to the legendary director's work, but also allowed modern audiences to witness the cinematic brilliance of a man who, despite the hardships and obstacles he faced in Hollywood, left an indelible mark on the world of film. The irony in his most celebrated work, Citizen Kane. The trajectory of Orson Welles' life, marked by a meteoric rise and eventual decline, bears a striking resemblance to the narrative of his most celebrated work, Citizen Kane. The film tells the tragic tale of Charles Foster Kane, a man at the pinnacle of his success who could have become president, but instead experiences a fall from grace in both his professional and personal life. The uncanny parallels between Kane and Welles' life stories illustrate the poignant irony that pervades the film. Both Kane and Welles' tragic arcs begin in childhood. In Citizen Kane, the young Charles Kane is robbed of his youth when his parents send him away to a business tycoon, intending to secure a prosperous future for him in business and politics. This pivotal moment marks the end of his innocence and forces him to grow up prematurely. In a similar vein, Orson faced enormous expectations from his mother, which propelled him into a life of greatness. This pressure led him to excel in various fields, becoming an iconic playwright, radio producer, filmmaker, magician, maverick, and a true Renaissance man. The most heartbreaking line in the film occurs at the beginning with Kane's final words, Rosebud. These words, a reference to his childhood sled, symbolize the innocence and happiness he experienced before being thrust into the world of business and politics. The irony lies in the fact that everyone in the story assumes Rosebud relates to wealth, power, or romance, but it represents the purest and most poignant memory from Kane's life. In this manner, Citizen Kane foreshadows the eventual downfall of Orson Welles. Both the character and the creator rise from humble beginnings to attain remarkable success, only to become outcasts struggling to reclaim their former glory. Uncontrolled desires and regrets. Orson's voracious appetite encompassed work, art, food, and romantic conquests. Though modest about his amorous skills, he embodied the quintessential Don Juan, a fleeting touch, a fleeting love. Insecurity appeared to permeate much of his existence, even casting doubt on his own stature, as he often donned platform shoes to accentuate his already impressive height. When it came to his insatiable appetite, regularly indulging in 3 steaks in a single meal, it was neither hunger nor sheer gluttony that drove him. Instead, he seemed to be attempting to satiate an emotional void that food could never truly satisfy. He previously claimed his physician advised him to refrain from hosting intimate dinners for 4 people unless there are 3 additional people there. Orson expressed regret over the limited number of films he'd made, viewing each as a unique experiment. He continued his experimental approach until his final days, but by then his accomplishments had been eclipsed by his larger-than-life persona and a series of lowbrow TV commercials for whiskey and frozen peas. His versatile interests and refusal to adhere to conventions often conflicted with the demands of the commercial film industry. Moreover, his insistence on maintaining creative control over his films often led to clashes with studios, producers, and financiers, and many of his projects remained unfinished or struggled to find a suitable platform for distribution. Now it's time to hear from you. What's your favorite Orson Welles movie? Let us know in the comments section below.